and then we'll begin. Okay, so welcome everybody. Brigitte, over to you.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you very much for having me. Uh, this pilgrimage was such a personal adventure, and it went over 5 years. And having the opportunity to share that with my many friends, breath workers and breath friends from the IBF is really fantastic. So, welcome everybody. Lovely to see some known faces and discover some new ones. So, I will try and speak clearly, but I have a bit of an accent, I believe. So, if you are not understanding, please, or if I'm too fast, please let me know. Um, I also will show some pictures, but I I had a hard time choosing which picture because I know that too many of them can be a bit overwhelming. So there'll be a bit of picture, a bit of, but a bit of talking. But the main aim for me of presenting this is kind of giving you a taste, inspire you to do things that apparently appear impossible, and to go in search of the magical, of the wonders of life. So that's kind of my purpose for sharing. It's not at all, oh, it's not so much me telling you, look what I've done, I'm so good, I'm so strong. So, and also telling you about the things that happened, and how to keep on following the little voice in the head, and not lose hope, not give up. So that's the purpose for me talking today. And first, I'm going to tell you uh, why I did this pilgrimage, and what it is first, where I went concretely. It's called the Via Francigena, and also how I got ready for it, and a bit of what I took, my luggage. And so that if you wanted to do a big walk through Europe, you would have some hints, you would have some tips. I also will let you know about the food and the picnic places I found up in the mountains, and also the accommodation that was available. There'll be and I'll tell you, I'll take you with me through the various countries. So you can imagine you walking with me and you're coming through these fantastic experiences, but also through the more tricky one. So basically, I take you back. I take you with me on a review of this pilgrimage. There'll be some time for conclusion, and then also some time for I tell you what I gained from it, what I thought I gained from it. But it's like I keep on seeing my life so transformed now, and enjoying reaping the result of that work. It was transformative, definitely. And it went over 5 years, so it took integration time over the 5 years. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that. And I'll ask you as well what it is. What is that little voice in your head? Where is it taking you? Are you having a similar call to do something out of your normal life? Anyway, that's where we're going. And there'd be a space for question at the end. So as I imagine we will be complete by, I mean, in 1 hour and a half. In my English time, it'll be 6:30. So first, my name is Brigitte Martin-Powell. I'm originally from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, but I also lived in the German part of Switzerland, and in Africa, and in Latin America. So I'm a bit of a traveler, and I like discovering new places and meeting new people. And was an economist to start with, and then I became a breath worker in 95, got involved with the IBF for many years, from 2000 up to now, really, with a little break recently. And I created a school with my friend. We co created a school and ran that for 16 years. And the school is kind of very much involved in the pilgrimage, and I'll tell you more about it. So that was the Air School of Breathwork, and now it's handed over to some friend, and it's really friends, some graduates of our school and friends. Very good school. Uh, so yeah, that's about me. So more people have arrived. So again, very welcome to everybody who's joined us now. So the first thing is what had me undertake a pilgrimage. I'm not religious, and I am very much into spirituality, but not religious. And the Via Francigena, for example, passed next to the village where I grew up and was born, and I never heard about it. And if I'd heard about it at the time, I probably wouldn't been very interested anyway. So what had me undertake that is that need to walk straight ahead in my life, in my school, all the time. I had this urge to just walk in front of me, not in a circuit for a day walk, but just walk and walk and walk. But I'm married, I've got a family. Taking the time off for walking that much was not conceivable, and so I didn't know how to manage that urge and the reality of my life. But that was one reason I got in the end to do a pilgrimage like that. Another reason was that I'm 60. Well, at the time I was less. I was 5 years younger. I was 63, and I just thought I had to know what to do with the 20 next years in my life. I felt I had reached a place, and I didn't know where exactly where to take my energy. So I wanted some clarity for that. I also had some rebirthing session within the school, and I had got the message that I needed to incarnate more. And in that walking, I would, it would allow me to incarnate, and I could very much relate to not wanting to be on Earth and having just come with my feet a bit tentatively on Earth, but not being quite here, even at the advanced age that I was. So uh, incarnating more was something that had me really wanting to do something. But again, I didn't see myself walking away for so long. So I thought, oh, we had a camper van, so I could go with my husband and I walk and he visit with the camper van and then we meet and we tried and it never worked. It's like the universe was saying, no, Brigitte, you take the time off for you. It looked for me very egoistical, but no, you do it. Whatever I tried to arrange uh, with my family was not never going to work. And also, I've got my mom in Switzerland, so if I have some time off from the school, from the training, I should be seeing my mom really, rather than walking by myself and having a good time. So all this little reason in my head why I should not do it, and I'm more telling you that because I think it's so easy to hear those little voice and stop ourselves in our dreams. No, there's all these good reasons, but the urge was stronger, and the need to do something for myself kind of was stronger as well. I had also a problem with the school actually because my the co-owner, the co-founder and owner and myself, we had different managing styles, and they were clashing, and I was getting very frustrated. So the school was fantastic, but on the management level, I was really not happy and wanting some inspiration. So that was enough for me to decide to go. So yes, so I've got the motivation. I've got the idea I need to walk in a straight line, maybe a pilgrimage, but am I physically able to do it? So I had to start training and walking 10 kilometers. Okay, fine, I can do it. Like 15 next time. Ah, I can still walk 15. Good. And can increasing little by little. And then, oh, I can walk 30 kilometers, but that's enough. 30, not more, thank you very much. But then can I walk with a load of my on my back? So it took a good part of a year to to test myself and also what am I going to bring. So I made a list and I managed to, you know, my one item of clothing could be at the same time a kind of t-shirt, a kind of vest to put underneath my clothing if it's cold, or my pyjama, or even my bathing suit. So I had a few items that had multi-purposes. And actually I had a very small bag compared to all the others. I was very pleased with my reducing of the amount, but hey, I had to carry it. So they say not to take more than 10% of your body weight, the recommendation. So being a bit heavier than a lot of women, I was that means I could take a little bit more, but still no, it's carrying it for a lot of kilometers is a bit tricky. I need to have a sip. So uh, so the other what happened then, another obstacle was the COVID pandemic, which stopped me completely in my past, but I'll come back on that. So, what is the Via Francigena? The Via Francigena goes from, I'll show you pictures afterwards, but it goes, or should I show them now? Anyway, I've started. It goes from Canterbury, south east of London, to Rome. And it is the road that this archbishop called Sigeric the Serious took to go and get the blessing from the Pope in 1990, in 990, more than 1,000 years ago. And he walked to Rome, and on his way back, he recorded all, or he had his clerk record all the places where it stopped. So this became a pilgrim for people to go and to the tomb of Saint Paul and Saint Peter. I don't know. I don't even remember which one. Peter, two saints in the Vatican. So that's the routes that people that's this Sigiric took, but it was also a very commercial route. So a lot of people would go that way at the time, and Napoleon went over the Alps with his army, and a lot of it was a main um, commercial road. But of course, now you can't walk that route anymore because that straightest way down the valley has been taken by the motorways. So where the Via Francigena could be 1,700 kilometers, it is now over 2,000 because it goes following uh, paths, footpaths, long distance routes, and it goes up and down left and right of the that line that Sidgeric used. And sometimes, because the farm has got some dogs up, the the path has got to go and make a huge detour in the forest. And so it's not at all a straight line. But at the same time, it's much easier on the feet um, to walk in forests than on the asphalt, and certainly not next to the motorway. Some bits are next to the motorway, but thank God, not very often. So that's the Via Francigena. It's not at all as popular, thank God, I'd say, than the Camino. And for the French bit and the Swiss bit, and it actually very very rare to meet somebody, and the first part of the Italian bit, and then from Lucca or Siena onwards there are more people walking it, and every year there are more people as well, but it's not a very well known route. And so I walked a bit of it, and then I decided to add from where I live in Devon to Canterbury. So now I've walked from here, where I live, to Rome, which is about 3,000 kilometers. So, main thing for the preparation, I think, is also that everything is on the smartphone. So of my smartphone, I had all the maps I needed, or an application telling me where I had to turn left, where I had to turn right. I had all my phone, obviously. That was my what I took the pictures with, not the necessarily the best pictures, but at least everything was. If I wanted to read book, if I wanted to play games, everything was on my phone. I didn't carry anything in terms of maps and literature. Even the guidebooks I had were in PDF version on my phone. So I must admit that those phones are fantastic too. Uh, was fantastic for me. And the good thing for me was that with my humble Tesco £10 a month contract in the UK, I I had enough data for my whole trip. The Swiss people couldn't have data during during daytime because it cost them way too much, and I had data all the time to the point that when I had to walk for days on without seeing anybody, I could phone Alan, my husband, for 1 hour while walking, and still still have enough data at the end of the month. So in that case, I was privileged, and it's very also useful. So shall we start? Maybe a question so far, and then I can change. How many people are? We see everybody. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I'm going to switch, or shall we switch to speaker? And I'm going to see if I can share. Speaker. I can do it, or maybe I'm going to share the screen, and this one, no, this one, this one, share. Okay. Oh, via Francigena, participant can now see your application. Okay. That's a via Francigena, Canterbury to Rome. And if you can you see my little arrow? Yeah. I live here in Exeter. So I walk from Exeter to Canterbury, and then this all the way there. And I've got a detailed Excel sheet with every stage, how many kilometers, how many, where I sleep and everything. So I don't think it's of interest for anybody just now, but if you wanted it, you could ask me, and I could give it to you. It's detail of the whole thing. And I was feeling it every evening when I get to a place. I would I would update my Excel sheet So if I look here, oh no, that's a lovely picture of the time of Chaucer when they were doing the pilgrimage from London to Canterbury. Uh, they would go by uh, horses. Oh, I think I'm just going back to this picture because I like this one because you can see that here you have to go over the Alps. It's quite high, a lot of walking up in the mountains, and you can only do that bit in the summer months because otherwise that bit here, otherwise it's covered in snow. So you really have to plan the thing to arrive here in the hot months. But then you arrive here, that's a poor valley. And if you arrive in summer, it's very, very full of mosquitoes. So it's tricky to do the things. But then you have another chain of mountains, again, quite a climb here. And then along the valley, and you get to Rome. And this is going through the Tuscans. It's so beautiful. Except that the best, for me, the best stage of them all was there where I live. I'll show you a picture. It's the Lake of Geneva from Lausanne to Vevey, where I grew up. I must say, it it was better even than Tuscany. Tuscany was beautiful, but it was very dry and very dusty. Very dusty, basically. All the beautiful cypresses were covered in dust. Anyway, so that's the Via Francigena, which I did mm, in different. I first did that bit, Canterbury, Dover, and then I had my ticket for the 28th of March to walk from um, Calais to hopefully my mum by the Lake of Geneva. And COVID happened. So I walked the equivalent kilometers in Devon. And I thought I'll come and walk it later, but I walked 600 kilometers in Devon every day. I would get up, and we were allowed to get out one time, but my one time during COVID were lasting 8 hours, and I was by myself in the countryside in spring. It was absolutely beautiful. It was so, so special. And then I walked another time from Reims to my mom here over 3 weeks, and another time over the Alps over 1 week, and then from the bottom of the Alps to Rome over 6 weeks on another occasion. And then when I go and visit my mom near Lausanne, I do bits there. So I walked that bit between my mom and the bottom of the Alps 1 day at a time while visiting my mom. Are you seeing the pictures okay? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the pictures are okay.
Okay. So this is called the credential. You go around with this piece of paper, which is much longer than that. That's the other bit of it. And you get a stamp in every place that you visit. Sometimes I draw the place because I can't get a stamp. Like this one up here is me drawing the, the Mary. And this allows you to have special tariff as a pilgrim and being able to get into a cathedral for free and this kind of stuff. So these credentials are very useful. And also, it's very satisfying to add a stamp every day after a long walk. And it's a bit like a child collectioning um, footballers' pictures. Oh, I made groups of pictures here to not to swamp you into too many pictures. So this is the Roman roads that we walk along. And this feeling of walking with thousands of people who have walked before is very special for me. Crossing Europe on places that people have walked all these centuries ago and still walking now. I find that, and if they for religious purposes, somehow I find that very moving. So this is the Via. Oh, I've forgotten the name, but they're the Roman roads in Italy. Oh, Il Cammino del Cuore. These are hearts I found on my way, more or less all in the same areas. And one day with very long trek, I kept on finding these hearts, so I made a collage. If we practice walking meditation for even a few days, we will undergo a deep transformation and learn how to enjoy peace in each moment. From this gentleman whose name I still can't pronounce. Yes, yes, yes. I'm lucky to be able to walk. Now that's not everybody. Some people can't walk long distance, but it's so special to be in the body. It's like I'm not very good at meditating sitting in a place, but walking, and especially by oneself, is allowing me to concentrate on my breathing, and then it become very special. So thick, yeah, I completely go behind it. That I took this picture. That's my brother's made that for me. He painted on his stone in his house. Fellow pilgrims over the centuries in cathedral, in Bolsena, fellow pilgrims. It's like we're not alone on this pilgrim way because I'm with everybody who walked before me. And God knows that I was very often the only one in this time and place. But anyways, those are little signposts to let you make sure you're on track. Yes, hurting, feet hurting. This is a little pilgrim checking his feet. He's in Spain. This little statue. That's for resting my feet. Turning upside down. But also possibility of falling. So that was not a very nice rating or what I mean. But thank God for again COVID now because the path was open, but it was just between one COVID and the other. So all the churches had, all the public places had some disinfectant. So I was able to clean my wound with some disinfectant just there and then. Just maybe not very nice picture. Peace is in every breath, remembering to breathe as I walk. Yes, this I put this picture because the colors, that's this kind of green is my favorite color for leisure. And I found some rooms that had the same color. So I took pictures for color coordination, even drinks. But here, I this was my kind of pyjama, which I walked with because somehow the air was so dry. I started that Italian bit in February 22 to 22 actually, and the air was so dry that my trousers rubbed against my legs, and my legs were becoming all bruised and really painful. And I really contemplated having to stop. And so I walked for 2 days in my pajamas. What was my pajamas? Just to not have the seam of my trousers rubbing against my legs. And then I decided to put my night cream face, my face night cream, which I didn't have day cream to be lighter, I just had night cream on my legs, and it disappeared. So that's a little picture that it's kind of mocking myself to having to walk around the house in my pajamas. And that's another picture because I travel, I never see what my hair look like. So I had to resort to taking a picture of my hair, what it looked like behind. Am I looking presentable? Anyway, anyway. Also, I'm an addict to brushing my teeth, and it's not always possible because I can have picnic in the middle of nowhere. But what a benediction to find a sink in the middle of the road to brush my teeth. Anyway, those are kind of pictures of strange things met in the way. This is a collage I made, and we'll see it several times because I'm using it for separating different sections. Uh, I call it the inner journey, the inner pilgrimage. If I'm not on the road, kind of remembering the going within and the allowing for the magical and the extraordinary and the listening to the little voice. I'm still trying to walk locally as much as I can. So that starts the chapter on accommodation. Accommodation, a pilgrim can find very rustic accommodation, and for me it's perfect because when I was getting very fancy bed and breakfast places, then there are so many little decoration that at the end I'm not sure I've taken all my stuff back or it's getting a bit cluttered. Whereas those are not cluttered; they are really very basic, but very nice. And this is a picture I had at home. So that was a sister's convent. And they had on the wall the same picture I had at home and use in all my trainings. So, Jesus, in that case, it- it- yes, they were not going to have Babaji, which is another picture I use in my trainings. But it can also be a different situation where you have a lot of people in the same room. And I have shared room with 5 men, more in the Rome area, though when there were more people. But I was also so that's part of the accommodation challenge. And also, more people in the room, it means you can share the we can split the price of the room in as many people are sleeping in it. Here we were three. I mean, I have the middle bed, and they're on both sides, those two. So that makes the room cheaper. And as this gentleman, I've also walked with him for 3 weeks, just the two of us, and we would share a room, and that's good company for evening, having a meal somewhere, and also a lot of feeling of safety to have somebody that's walking the same route, and uh, and also the financial advantage of splitting the bill every evening. So yes, accommodation in churches as well. This was in a place called Mortara because a lot of people died there. That's my fancy living in a place called Mortara. But it was a church, and the church hall had spaces for 25, I think, people when it was not COVID. But here's just my bed. And then the lady who served me a very nice meal in the evening. So it was very privileged and all that space for myself and a service in my room service. This is another convent I went to in Ponte Tremoli, something like this. And I took the picture in the reception and the room. And this was not heated, and it must have been 0 degree in that room. So that's part of it. Is that's my baggage. My luggage, by the way, very small. This is the conditions are sometimes a bit tricky, and if you travel in summer, then it can be much hotter. Way too hot for me. I chose to travel in that case. We got to March. It was cold. And then you have, that was France. You have people having a little beautiful house, and they receive pilgrims for for very little money in a way. I think it's about 30 € for the night and supper and breakfast. So that was Madame Guénin, She was over 90, and I heard her whole story. Very, very nice time with that lady uh, in her beautiful house. Another lady who I wrote also had fantastic conversation. And the beds that I slept on had those fantastically beautiful embroideries made by hand, and also for a very, very good price. So people are generously receiving uh, pilgrims. Villages, that's in that village, that's the mayor's, the mairie, belongs to the village, and that's a kitchen, and I got a basket with the food. So another mairie, very, very nice place. We had the sun coming in, and some food for evening meal, and with a fresh salad, and the next morning breakfast. Although I think I ate everything in the evening, and then I realized it included breakfast, which I had hardly anything left. Or like this one, this is in England. Uh, Isles, or I'm not good with names. A beautiful, very, very ancient house, which that's a priory, very, very, not very far away from you, Vanessa. I can see you there, south of Rochester, and beautiful gardens. And this is that's been for centuries a place where pilgrims would stay, and this place has a feel like it was just the same all these years ago. And so that's kind of all the range of accommodation you can have. And even this place had Wi-Fi, which was a miracle, I thought. So and anyway, so that was I think. Oh no, you have here now some more places which I would book through booking.com, for example, or not necessary pilgrim places. That's a hotel in Switzerland, and my bed was on the top bunk bed with a view on the Swiss Alps. Uh, or by lake in Italy, the Royal Hotel had the best room because I was the only one in the hotel in March, and it felt very special in a kind of king queen's bed. This lady had gotten everything out to make such a delicious place for for the night in a Airbnb. That's my colleague again. We had our little terrace in a fantastic in Sutri, that is. So I think we're getting to the end. Yeah, that's the end of accommodation. So that gives you a taste of the different situation with accommodation and food. So that's more than food. This is like picnic places in a torrent in the Swiss Alps, in a river, having lunch while cooling down the feet. This is in the Italian hills, having lunch with a view. Uh, that's another picture of a lovely little place having a drink. Drink. I didn't know what to drink in the bars, no, because I'm not used to Italy. I'm not used to going to bars anyway. So I Googled I WhatsApp my family to recommend drinks, and this one came out, Kino, and it's actually really, really nice. Looks like very, and you can get them. You can get it here as well, San Pellegrino. Anyway, Kino was one of my staple drink afterwards, and but also different one with different colors. By the sea here, which I made a little detour to see the sea. The Via Francigena didn't go to the sea. And this is what the hospice, St. Bernard hospice, give you for the next day picnic. This is rather rustic and a lot of meat. Was not such a meat eater, but Swiss chocolate, so big piece of cheese for so you get a bag like this for the next day. Oh no, it's because I've got that thing. I got the pictures in the place where I was supposed to. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Food. Susie. Some meat sometimes because that's the only thing available. But that was my best spaghetti pasta, a truffle pasta. Anyway, I took some pictures like people do. And this one, the restaurant where it says non si può pensare bene, amare bene, dormire bene, se non si è mangiato bene. You can't think well, love well, sleep well if you haven't eaten well. I thought that was a good sentence. And this couple were on their mobile phone having a meal in the restaurant with us, with the television and the news. And you can see they were coming every evening to have their meal here. So they were worthy of a picture, I thought. Um, yeah, this is a closed house with a closed restaurant, but it was on booking.com. So I, 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 I phoned and I got a room and then I got a seat in the restaurant, but everything is closed. The curtains outside, the shutters, everything is closed. And suddenly I had 30 men who were working on the roundabout, transforming the roundabout next door, came to share the room with me. And this is a snack somewhere. I don't know. That story goes with that, but I don't know how we're doing this time. How we do? Anyway, I don't even have time. One sec. Okay. So now we get to the Via Francigena itself, and this is the English bit in Kent from Canterbury to Dover. It's 2 days. It's 32 kilometers. People do it sometimes in one day. And it's in beautiful Kent. But sometimes you've got to cross fields that have just been plowed and there's no GPS is the only way to get to know where you're going. There is no direction. And I took a picture of who I walked with that little bit. That's my friend Beatrice. And this was my testing the Via Francigena, see if I could do it. So just two testing stages, and then I was going to start from Calais. But then as I said, the that happened, and I had to walk in Devon. So the next bit is Reims. So that's the Reims Cathedral, and long bits along the canals and beautiful churches, beautiful rivers. That's the Champagne. But somehow France is very there's not much. It's long days walking in the same kind of of countryside, and all the villages, baker shops, and little food shops, and what do you need? Oh yes, pubs. They've all gone. The village are kind of barren, just houses, and that's it. And it's very difficult to find food. And sometimes you have to take food for 2 days because you won't come across a place where you get food. And sometimes people who host me were giving me leftovers for the lunch because they knew I was not going to find anywhere for lunch. Bizarre situation in France. I stopped in every pub I came across, but I went to three, I think. They were no, in towns, yes, but in between towns, nothing. I went with I went with my cousin to start with for a few days, and then I was by myself. And this gentleman was a student in my school, and he was having some. That's my friend Christophe. He was having some difficulties, and I said, oh, I think you need to ground yourself and walk. Why don't you come to walk with me? So he accompanied me for 10 days. I was walking with Christophe and chatting about where he was at in his life. And it was a very, very difficult time for him. And some people might recognize him because he in the end wrote a poem about me and he read it at the Global Inspiration Conference, uh, the last one. And it was for the time we spent together, which was great, but it was not at all easy for him at all. And a bit I walked. She joined me as well. That's my sister-in-law. So that was my French, my people to go through France with. But then I discovered that because I was the organizer, I felt that was very much a responsibility to have these people working with me, and I needed the experience of walking by myself. So for the next bit, well, not this one, for the Italian bit, I decided no, I'm going to go by myself. I just have to have this experience. Yes, so I only look after myself, and I have only me to look after, and I can change my mind, do what I want, creating that space. But this is a bit in Switzerland, walking from my mom's place, Lausanne, kind of, to the bottom of the Alps. And this is when I did one day at a time. I did one day at a time, and you can see how beautiful it is. And basically, that's my part of the world where I came from. I come from, and we can see the Alps on the other side, but this side is Switzerland. And so this, I invited friends one day for one day at a time, and here they are. Even my mum came to walk a little bit along near with a rollator, and that's my brother and my sister-in-law and my cousin and some a good university friend. So they came to walk one day at a time with me, and involving my family and involving my friends was a privilege, and I really enjoyed that. And it was just one day, but still 25, not my mom with a rollator, but 25 kilometers, quite long stretches, and sometimes in a rainy weather. And that is going over the Alps. Again, I made a little so to give you the atmosphere, to give you an idea now. I didn't want to put too many pictures, so I grouped them into one, and that is going over the Alps with my friend Evelyn and my sister-in-law Noel. A beautiful, beautiful bit of the countryside of the Via Francigena, except that I had by then damaged my Achilles. I think they call Achilles ligament. So I struggled for this bit. I really struggled. We didn't walk very much. I was the weakest link of the three. We didn't walk very much every day. And when the next day we got up to the beautiful weather, to the Saint Bernard um, Saint Bernard hospice, and the next day was this weather. And they looked pretty well organized, but I was not, and I was in short, I think, and I really, really was cold on that day. So that's good motivation to walk fast. Are we getting to the Italian bit? Yes. Now it's the hours to Italy to Rome, and that's me coming out from the hairdresser. I just found a hairdresser and I had an Italian hairdresser haircut. I was very pleased. Took a picture. The Ost Valley in February. It's very grey. It's very, very grey. Everything. I expected a lot of snow and a lot of torrents coming down, rivers, whatnot. It was so dry, so dry. And so that's where my skin was getting attacked by the dryness. Oh, yes, that's kind of incidents on the road in modern life. Now, what do you do if you're supposed to pass here? Uh, I tried to go up the baluster. I tried to wait until the driver would come. In the end, I had to go across here, but I had to really squeeze myself. I couldn't go back. They was that would have been a huge detour. I had to squeeze myself next door, and I had a next to the lorry, and I had a cucumber in my bag. And when I came at the other side, the head of my cucumber had been chopped off. So that incident in modern Via Francigeno. And that's a poor valley. And the poor valley is days after days, I think it's a week to cross, of nothingness and dryness. It's supposed to be rice fields and a lot of water. Nothing, nothing. And I was by myself, and it felt really like it was Lent time, and I was crossing my own desert there. And I didn't speak to anybody. There was in the villages maybe somebody at night to explain where my room was, but it was very, very lonely. And another, cemetery, a lot of cemetery, graveyard to see a horizon, more graveyard farms, isolated farms, but very, very lonely and harsh and very cold as well, very, very cold. Oh, and then the crossing of the Po Valley should have way, way more water up to here. And everybody was suffering from drought. And that day it's about 0 degree. It's very cold on the boat. Oh, that was my worst day. I think I ended up in tears because I arrived in my hotel and they say now it's not open until 6 o'clock and I just have to wait outside and say, oh no, no, this is too much. I'm going home. And then I met this gentleman, that's Marcus, and he had walked from Zurich to um, that place where we met over first journey, and now he was walking uh, to Rome as well. and so it's kind of getting to know. Are we walking the same path? Are we going to meet and then are we going to share a meal? And then, but he was a very nice person, and he was from Switzerland, Swiss German from Switzerland. So for me, it was like also a little, sorry, a little part of my roots that it felt very familiar. I lived for 10 years in the Swiss German part of Switzerland, and it felt very familiar. So we had a very, very good time. And also it felt very, very much safer because by myself in those mountains, should I, oh no, should I have a problem with my leg, my foot? Should I fall? I did not have any solution. Would somebody find me, you know, good to know somebody is walking not far. But the problem is my nose there. Anyway, this is a pair of shoes that's getting to the end of its life. That happens. I had to buy some new shoes, and I bought some very cheap trainers, 30 euro, and they were fantastic. One of the highlights of my Via Francigena is to go and visit this couple who are living very in the marble area of Italy, and they do sculptures, fantastic sculptures. And they're friend of friends, and I just went to visit them, and they called ooh, Nicola Bertou and Cynthia. They famous sculptors, and they had fantastic. They were living in a fantastic place that Michelangelo would have uh, seen and worked in, and they were very knowledgeable as well. Ah, sorry, I'm just saying my nosebleed. So here we are in San Gimignano. I give you also one picture of San Gimignano. Uh, with these towers. And well, I turn my nose. I will leave you with Yes, a moment of magic, a moment of so being feeling so grateful for being there in that moment. The Angelus at 6 o'clock, I think it is on that day. So beautiful. Siena, also a moment of such a beautiful town, and and such a oh, just sitting. I didn't know. I didn't need to go and visit anything. I could have sat on that square, which is actually round, for all the time. I took a day off in Siena. We took a day off because then Marcus took also a day off. So we visited the town. It was not a day where we were carrying all our luggage. Okay, I think I'm going to stop. So we arrive in Siena just for the Siena medieval New Year. I think it's the 23rd of March. And they were all these beautiful people walking in town with their flags. And again, we arrived in Siena, and here they were passing. They were just starting, and there's not very many people watching them because it's still people are still wearing masks and not wanting to go out. So that was another really beautiful moment. This gentleman, Francesco, we met him later as well. But Francesco actually left the place just by the Alps where I was one day before me, but I didn't know he had. And going over 3 weeks later, going over the mountain, uh, he said, he turned around and he said, "Oh, aren't you Brigitte?" And I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Yes, because we are the only one walking, and they tell me you're passing." And so we had been walking. I had been walking one day behind him from all those 3 weeks. But he was with a young man. He was with an 18 years old man who was a delinquent, and they were doing the Via Francigena with a hope to turn him around, to turn the delinquent boy around. And he had such a hard job because the young man was a very nice guy, but he was lost, and this one was like a father figure, and they were talking all the time. The young man was asking a lot of questions, so I was really in awe of that gentleman who spent 6 weeks of his life accompanying a young person just to kind of helping them. And in the end, he didn't manage. In the end, he got attacked by the young boy, and they had to. Ah, it was sad, but I can see the young boy. The young boy, he was 18, not a boy. The young man, uh, that was very hard for him. First, the physicality of it now, and he lost it, and oh, they had to have the police come. So my hat to Francesco, and then I met them again, both of them again, uh, 2 weeks afterwards, and we did a bit of the road together. Uh, oh, here is Francesco. Here is a young man, two ladies from just come out of university, and we are up. You can see it's cold. We are up in that place, Harikov, funny, and that's my first meal with other pilgrims. That's an interesting experience because before I was either by myself or very often with Marcus. That's the first. So I needed to take a picture. But the next day it rained and it was cold. And yeah, I can go back to that picture. When I was, that's to show you my what happened in my head now, my ego, my not my ego, the little voice. When I was working by myself, I that was getting very, how do you call it, lonely. And then Marcus was working with me, but we were often walking not together. No, he was taking pictures, and I was walking by myself. But at least I knew he was nearby, and we would meet in the evening and also share a room. That was really good companionship. But when they started being more pilgrim and they became even more, I just didn't want people to think I was we were partners, or I needed the man to walk with. So I'm here kind of divulging a bit of my psyche. I wanted to be that strong woman who does it all by herself. So I kind of I kind of said, no, now I'm walking by myself. You kind of he'd found other people to walk with. I wanted, so I kind of split up. No? And then it's that in that rainy days, I found my hotel by myself, and then we were several in our different hotels, and then we kind of had our meal in the evening by ourselves, and it felt so ridiculous. So then I had to say, no, that's crazy. I can see this attempt at proving to the world that I was doing it by myself. I was strong enough. So silly, silly, silly. He was a bit surprised. Anyway, the rain. I like this picture with if that's Marcus take the picture with me in the paddle as well. And the two other girls. It was raining. They had huge bags, and I thought I needed to show you some beautiful pictures of Italy. Now that's when we've seen that San Gimignano, but this town up on hills and these beautiful landscapes when the weather. Oh, no, it is beautiful, and that's when arriving in Rome. That just there's some parks all the way to Rome. Actually, you can go through parks, and then you arrive on this balcony, and you go down, and you're on the main avenue that takes you to St. Peter. Oh, beautiful, beautiful pictures of yellow things. No, I'll go back here. I like the houses and the houses of color, the same as the fruit in front of the houses. Anyway, I hope. I don't know. That's Viterbo's uh, water fountains. So churches all have a beautiful story. I can remember all where they are. All of those. This one we've seen. This one was on the ley line, actually, on a very powerful ley line. This one is in Lucca. That is also in Lucca, and this is at just the bottom of the Alps. Very very old church. Very beautiful cathedral and decorations, and we've seen many, many, many churches, and it's always kind of a feel of, of grandeur. It's beautiful, beautiful roofs, beautiful statues and paintings. Mm. I hope my internet is working enough. Got a message here. Beautiful old towns, the one where you live as well. Robin is special. He's beautiful. It's like living in a walking very often through museum, and nobody in the streets, hardly anybody, very very few people. Also because it's cold and it's very early spring. But these towns, and look who I met on the way. Robin, very very nice to see Robin. Oh, the only person from all my uh, the only person I knew that I met. So thank you, Robin. We had a lovely sharing time there. We're arriving in Rome, the square, San Peter Square. But again, a bit of an anticlimax with all the barrier, and I was not allowed in because I had my Swiss penknife in my bags, and I couldn't go. They had check you like for an airport. And that's what you get when you walked the last 100 kilometer at least. But of course, I walked more. You get a testimonial paper because the next day we were allowed without the pen. I was along the St. Peter's Cathedral, beautiful. And oh, let me stop that for a little bit. And so after the anticlimax, we uh, we found out that after COVID, the next day was going to be Palm Sunday's Mass with the Pope in St. Peter's Square, the first event after COVID that was outside, and the weather was spectacular. And there was this huge choir, and then the Pope had his speech, and so we were there for 3 hours, and I was in tears. I cried the whole 3 hours. So I'll give you a little bit of the atmosphere. Okay, it's a bit longer, but I'm going to cut it here. So special. And then the Pope, his message, uh, I kept on saying, yes, that's what I teach to our students. That's living. That's how I live my life. I live my life. I felt very aligned with the Pope on that day. And then we had a day to visit Rome. So two of my colleagues visiting Rome. That's a famous fountain in front of us. This gentleman had done the last 100 kilometers by bike, and it's quite fun. It's quite fun to be a bit of a tourist without the luggage. And well, the Pope he passed just in front of me. I was able to take a picture. Anyway, and there's such a crowd and all fervent people, fervent, devout people. And it always touches me to be with devout people. There's such so much love and respect and it's an energy I quite like. Okay. Yes. So I came I came back from oh yeah, yeah, excuse me. Yeah. I came back from Rome and um, I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough. It didn't feel complete. So I decided to walk from my home to Canterbury. And I did that over several weeks, bit here, bit there. I had done a bit already, taking the bus in the morning, going to a place, walking, coming back like this, and then I had to take a few days off, and then a week off, and uh, and so that is the Cathedral of Canterbury. No, 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 that's the Cathedral of Winchester. Oh yes, I had one of the highlights was staying at on the green of Salisbury Cathedral for 2 nights, and in a very reasonable rate there. It's a college for theological students, and staying on the green of Salisbury Cathedral was very special. This is Winchester Cathedral because the last bit from Winchester, that was going to be the cherry on the cake, from Winchester to Canterbury is a famous pilgrimage route that's called the Pilgrim Way, which was kind of reopened or remade fashionable lately, but is actually not at all. Have no accommodation as such organized, so it's very tricky to walk. But it's beautiful England, and I did this bit in June this year, so that's very recent. here I put a picture of the impediments. Sometimes here, no way I was going to cross this and get my shoes completely wet because I've tried, you don't walk with wet shoes afterwards. It doesn't work. How am I going to cross this field of sheep? In the end, the gentleman came and pushed the sheep and opened the door for me. Or this, I didn't go there. That was my path, but too many stinging nettles and me with my shorts, no way. I've had a lot of stinging nettles before and I've learned my lessons. And here I get in Canterbury, but it's something else I want to say. Okay. Yes, on that little bit of road, let me go. Let me go back. Let me stop sharing then, because I think that's the end of it. Okay. So let me put the view that I can see gallery. Okay, thank you. You're still there. Didn't see you. Okay, so that was going to be my cherry on the cake, the last bit. And actually, on the fourth day, I got ill and I just couldn't walk anymore. I probably got COVID, I think. So I went to the hotel. I slept all afternoon. Next morning, I went until 12. Changed into my next hotel by bus pass, very useful. Slept in my next hotel. Next day, slept until midday. Tried to walk a little bit. So I was ill. I was not well. Then I was okay, but I fell on my face. I with my stick. I didn't. I could not put my hand to to prevent myself falling. So I broke my glasses. And I was stuck under my back and didn't know how to move. It didn't end up being too dramatic, but it was bizarre because I don't know where I fell. And then 2 days later, I got plantar fasciitis. I couldn't walk comfortably because the sole of my feet were inflamed. So, excuse me, it was not good. And so I considered stopping really. But then what did it is I was at a roundabout just south of London, between London and Sevenoaks, and there were nobody on the roundabout, and myself walking on the pavement to pass the roundabout. And this little mini car comes down the opposite lane very, very fast, goes on the roundabout, and come on the pavement 1 meter in front of me and just turns, come on the pavement and turns away from me just 1 meter before me. I didn't have time to be afraid, but that was uh, that was uh, quite dramatic and quite scary. So I decided that was the end. Oh, I felt that's the end. I'm no longer doing those big walks by myself for weeks on end. It's kind of the sign. I took it as a sign from the universe. Brigitte, enough. You've done it. And so I didn't finish the walk really. The last 4 days, I took my bus pass and I went to this beautiful place which I saw before the priory, the very ancient priory. The next morning, I took my bus pass, and I arrived in Canterbury. And but the urge to walk in front of me, the need to do that, and also suddenly I could even say, yeah, I've walked it. Even if the last beats were with my bus, I still have walked all that distance. And and I always thought I will walk the bit that I did in Devon because it was COVID. And actually, no, Brigitte, you've done it. You're good. And so I've walked it, but I haven't walked it quite the right way, all the way from home to Canterbury. And that's okay. And I've written some bits of it. I've made blogs, some part of it. So the bits I haven't talked, if you're interested, I've written, and I probably will write further blogs. So now, what has this whole thing brought me? Uh, well, I've got a sense of great achievement for once, but I one of the things that was how the universe made me put myself first. Like I shared before. Oh, I had to do that. I had to take the time off, and I had to have these experiences. And that's not who I identify with because I've been putting other people before me for a long time. So, and I'm also grateful to my husband who. The first time I went for 6 weeks, he really had found that very difficult, and one time I said, I'm doing that for my personal growth. It's not just holiday. And he said, you doing it was good for me doing it was good for his personal growth. So that was a relief. Um, One incredible experience is that because just because I had nothing else to think of than eating, uh, walking, and where I was going to sleep the next evening. It occupies the whole mind, and it's very very freeing. No, all my other problem disappeared because it's so important to know when I'm going to sleep and where I'm going to eat and what am I going to eat and sleep, eat, and yeah, that I can put my foot one foot in front of the other. And really, in France, for example, with my cousin, there were two occasions where we had nowhere to sleep. We arrived at the end of the day. We were sure to find a place, and everything we had on our list was closed. And we had phoned some places before, and they had said no. And we were really wondering whether we had to sleep in the ditch by the road. And twice, and very dramatic kind of but at kind of desperate now. And I was saying there has to be a solution. There has to be a solution, and it's this kind of trust and also following the inner voice. I will find the solution. There is one, and I found the taxi that was bien le Château, the place now. Another 10 kilometers. We'd already walked 30 kilometers, and there was another 10. And in that town, we had reserved something on the answering machine, but we didn't have confirmation and no, nothing. So I called a taxi in Bien le Chateau, and they said, no, 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 we can't come because we are also ambulance service, so we can't come. So no taxi was coming. So in the end, the idea came. I phoned the hotel. Do you have a room? Yes, we do have a room. Well, if you want me to come to your hotel, you have to send me a taxi. And they did send me a taxi. And so we did the last 10 kilometers by taxi. And the taxi was actually coming from a village we just crossed. It was a guy in his, a private guy, but anyway, perfect. And the other time we went back to the hotel that had said they were full. And we didn't say we were pilgrim, we just appeared to ladies in advanced middle age, or I don't know what you call it, and asked if they had a room. And they said, oh, yeah, we have one. We have one. And we got a family room, which they wouldn't have given to pilgrims. And when I phoned saying we were pilgrims, it was a no. So we were also saved last minutes. So a lot of the time, it's about trusting and following the little voice, and that's a good exercise as well. So I like that as a result. The following the dream, and even if it doesn't look very feasible. And another result is how we found a way, Doug and myself, to hand over the school, and I really put the magic of it down to the pilgrimage. We found, and God knows that we had conversation. When I was walking in the evening, sometimes we had conference call in one hotel about how we were going to do that. And it came the perfect solution. We have now two fantastic leaders and they do such a good job. And I really think we owe that solution to the past, to the pilgrimage. Um, I also feel more incarnated. You'll be pleased to hear. I, I've gained a shoe size, and my feet were too small because they're very arched. They were very arched. And I think the arching is also not wanting to be completely on the earth. And now I've got a more normal feet size for my height. And maybe I'm crazy, I don't know, but I'm thinking, yes, I'm more landed now on this earth. I'm more anchored. So that's one of the gain from the thing from doing the Via Francigena. But basically, my life looks completely different now, and I'm up for I'm looking at the wonders of life, and I'm up for for teaching people to look, mentoring, I don't know, to look for the magic in life. And God knows that there's enough things happening in the world that want to catch our attention in another direction, but keep on looking and keep on believing. And I also have taken up weightlifting and all kind of things because to stay strong. I got very strong at the end of the Via Francigena, but to stay strong and to like the feeling I need to be really strong and healthy to channel more light and more love. So um, and what is next for me is there. I mean, Devon is so beautiful, and there is a new little pilgrimage that's been defined in Devon. So that's what I'm going to do, walk in Devon and have people come and visit and not make it a business. Yes, invite people to come and walk with me in Devon. And really, I'm very lucky to live here. It's very, very beautiful. So I'm kind of looking at my sheet if I forgot something essential, but it feels like I've talked a lot already. Yeah. So yes, so basically my invitation is if you're interested, if you're inspired to look at this Via Francigena, if you want to do a bit. Now I can give you my list of what to take with you or the stages I did. And some places are really recommended, very, very special places. But there are other long distance walk in the UK and everywhere. And but choose something that is a bit challenging, that is a bit different, that involves the body, that involves grounding yourself and breathing and yes and making fun and also looking for the magic where you don't necessarily expect it and yeah, something like that. And also somehow make it choose what works for you. If you like music, I like silence, but if you like music, then make it with music as you walk, or if you like nature, make sure that you have these ingredients that makes you feel fulfilled and supported by the universe. Uh, last month, we had a presentation by Kate Becker. I don't know if some of you were there, and she that was exactly the same. And I have going to finish on some sentences. She said, "Do a revolutionary act of getting completely present, body grounding, balancing mind and heart, seeing the wonder of life." So yes to Kate, and yes to that's what a pilgrimage does for you. Create your life. What do you like to weave into the tapestry of your life? Again, that's what Kate said. She said something completely different, the presentation, but the essence was the same. Uh, create some, it's never too late or too soon to reconnect with your inner self. So it's about giving yourself the space to hear that little voice and hear the urge. So that's I'm getting to the end of my presentation, but please, if you have some questions or if you have some story you want to share, you're welcome. And thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you so much, Brigitte. That was totally fascinating. Um, and strangely enough, I happen to live on the Via Francigena. And so we actually met on the way. And if anybody fancies doing the Via Francigena, I have a spare room and you're welcome to stay with me. However, Linda there has a question. We can see Linda in the main screen. So Linda,
He's walking.
What is your question?
Hi.
Go ahead,
Oh my
Linda.
God, that was really that was very inspiring. Um, I have always, not always, but for the last at least 6 years, thought about, oh, I really want to do some sort of long walk. And the idea of like, that's the only thing on your agenda that day is to walk. It just seems like, whew, how I can just feel how great that feels. So I'm inspired to see, a woman that's of my age doing that, and all of the things you said. I mean, you embrace the magic of life and being present, and things happen and then something else happens. It's just I really was inspired, and I look forward to I will connect with you, because I would like to. My plan is to move to Italy, so I have thought about, like, well, where will I do a walk, So who knows? Maybe it'll be, I don't know yet, but I'm inspired by it. And thank you. No, I don't really have a question. You answered so much. I think I'd be a little nervous in the area where there wasn't food in the towns and you had to eat, that would be like, that would trigger my food thing that I have, like, make sure I have enough food. But it'll be a good opportunity as well. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing it and putting it together so nice. And your artwork, the collage, they really, yeah, you could feel it. And then you had like the background, and then you showed the pictures. You could see how it was, inspired. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Yes, do get in touch.
And will you have an email that I put it in the chat? Do you have an email or that we can find you, or WhatsApp or something like that?
Yeah, you find me everywhere with my name, Brigitte. I don't know.
Okay.
That's going to be my Brigitte Martin-Powell. That what there. But
Okay.
also WhatsApp or Instagram or Facebook. It's all that name. And I have a website with that name, but I
Oh.
don't know how to. I don't. And I've published quite a few things on that website. It's blog kind of blogs about the Via Francigena and other things. But it looks like nobody can communicate with me. I need help. I need help to set my website so that I can see
Okay.
I can see
I
stuff.
could understand that one. And I
So
like how you
that's coming. But
rephrased what. Yeah. Oh, great. And I love how you rephrased what Kate said. What was that, a month ago? I really enjoyed that talk. And remember, and she at the
yes,
end asked us, what did you take away? That's the part I remember. And I started singing every day. And it's really added some joy in my life that I didn't really think about. So that was great. So, and you put it all together at the end. I'm like, oh, I didn't catch that. So I liked how you said it. Of course, I've forgotten already, but thank you for saying
thank you,
that.
Linda.
For two. Bye.
So,
Beatrice, I saw you've joined us. And who would like to say something?
so Brigitte, some
Oh, it's
technical.
half past, yeah.
Obviously, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, you didn't do it all in one go. You did it in sections, I guess.
Yeah. Well, people do it in 3 months.
Okay. So in other words,
Yeah,
you did part of it and then you stopped and then you came back where you left off.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yes, yes. Not in the normal order, and then I added a bit in the UK. But the Via Francigena is a squeeze because American people come with a visa for 3 months, and it's a bit of a squeeze, and it implies walking very fast. So it's a bit more really for comfort. And it's
Okay.
good to take a day off I think I took 3 days off, one in Lucca, one in Siena, one in Viterbo, and then 3 days in Rome. And it's worth it. So 3 months is for very, very fast walkers, which I'm not.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody
Okay.
else?
Okay. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining Robin and myself today.
Just a minute.
Beatrice.
Yes. I am so frustrated because I have been wanting to come in and yet I couldn't find the way. I was really nervous. So my apologies for, I was really looking forward to it from having seen the interview with Robin where you're so inspiring. So I am just really sorry. It was technically, my brain wouldn't go through the steps I needed to take. But I have seen Brigitte going through so many other steps and all of that. It's just been amazing to see the commitment and the love, and it just moves me actually. The passion about all of what you went through like this, and your own transformation, your transparency in the being with wonder, the émerveillement. And I saw it in that little interview with Robin, and I just, this is so beautiful, Brigitte, so beautiful. So well done. And I'm sorry I missed it. I'm sure you can give me a link.
Thank you, Beatrice. Well, as Robin said, this has been taped, recorded. So
yeah, great.
If you want to see it, there'll be a way.
Yeah. Thank you.
So in fact, I'm going to stop the recording now, and it will be available. If you contact me, or I put my personal email up, and I'll let you know when the video is available. Okay. So or for anything about breathing arts, I'm the person responsible. So anything that you want to know, you can contact me. Probably the video will be up in a couple of days. So I'm going to stop the recording now.